a little higher than expected on wholesales. Retail inventories were a little higher than expected as well. A sign that people, stocked up more and people bought less. Fine. But what's happening is demand is falling, right? That's why inventories are higher. That's why GDP is lower. Now, why is demand falling? Because people are starting to wake up to the realization that their job may not be as secure as they think. And look what's happening right now. This just came out this morning. WARN notices are starting to spike again. WARN notices, the blue line over here, it generally leads a rise in unemployment claims. You can see that best over here in 22, where WARN notices started jumping. And look at that lag. It was like a 3-month, maybe, I'd say about a 3 to 4 month delay over here in the rise of the 3-month moving average, which makes sense because it's a moving average, of unemployment claims relative to WARN notices. So anyway, because these WARN notices, together with this report on potentially announcing an early replacement to Powell, should actually be really good for the bond market. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe I'm biased here, okay? Maybe we're just shilling the bond market because the bond market has done absolutely horribly since they cut 100 basis points. So, take it with a grain of salt. But bond yields, if Jay Powell's successor gets announced early, we start pricing in more cuts. At the same time we're pricing in more cuts, we get an unemployment problem that starts, sending red flags like WARN notices popping up. Yields are going to plummet. If yields plummet, you're actually in a great place to start thinking about. I'm not saying do it, not financial advice, okay? Not personal financial advice. But it does become very interesting to start thinking about bonds, mortgage companies, think like a Rocket Mortgage, buying Mr. Cooper, buying Redfin, getting exposure to those higher yield mortgages, but also mortgage servicing rights, which during refinances are obviously going to get replaced. But because a company like Rocket Mortgage has these servicing rights, you would expect a lot of the refinances to just go right through Rocket. That's why a lot of these companies like mortgage servicing rights. Not always, 100% true. Because some people will go to their local lenders or their loan officers that they have a relationship with. But that said, the MSRs could just end up right back at Rocket Mortgage. So who knows? The last time some of the unemployment numbers started freaking out was right here. This was the last time we had the unemployment scare, and you can see what happened. The 10-year Treasury collapsed to 3.6. But then on Trump-hopium on unemployment, yields skyrocketed to 4.77%.